problem. I promise you next time we'll figure out what is happening to Zoom. Okay. Okay, so welcome once again to Tekedia Live. My name is Sendu BC, and we are going to continue our conversation on the mechanics of market systems, looking at what I have titled today, the Grand Playbook of Business. And in that Grand Playbook of Business, our goal is to see how we actually go through the process of building companies. I think there could be an echo here. Let me quickly just get it done, fixed here. Right. Okay. Great. So to do that, let me take you to your secondary school integrated science. I know many of us went to secondary school where we studied integrated science, and integrated science essentially the composite of chemistry, physics, and biology, where they taught us natural philosophy at the elemental phase. And in that integrated science, usually in the second, the third year in secondary school, you must have seen this diagram. And this diagram, your teacher must have explained that this has to do with what they call mechanical advantage. And in that mechanical advantage, they also extrapolated what they call velocity ratio. You have a load, and you have to exert an effort. And when you exert that effort, you can now move this load. And for you to have the capacity of actually moving this load at a slightly lesser effort compared to the total energy capacity of that load, you need what they call a pivot or fulcrum. So by having these pivots here, you push this effort down, and then you can lift a bigger object compared to the energy that you are actually starting with. Your efficiency or your capability of moving this load with a slightly lesser energy content will now help you to model how efficient your simple mechanical system is. So you have what we call mechanical advantage, we have what we call velocity ratio. In business, the load is a friction that customers have. These are the problems that customers have in the market. That is the friction. That is the load. That is the obstacle that we are trying to overcome a market system. And that obstacle is very, very huge. If you are in the agricultural space, the obstacle you want to overcome is that people are hungry and you want to cook, make food, produce food systems that at the end of the day, they can overcome that friction of hunger. If you are in the educational sector, people are looking for knowledge, and you actually have to prepare a product, create a product that will help them overcome that knowledge deficiency. If you're in banking, people have frictions. They want to have the capacity of participating in the banking system. They save their money, and anytime they want that money, they can get it without any story being told. So at the end of the day, you have to apply an effort to overcome these frictions that those customers have. In engineering, or if you decide to go to secondary school in the senior class, you learn what they call transduction. Transduction is moving an energy state from one state to the other. In other words, you have a battery in your house. You want to do that ROC toy that your grandfather, your mother, your father bought for you during Christmas or Salah. So you put that battery, you crank up that toy, and it begins to run. You've moved what we called from electrical energy, which was where the battery energy was, to mechanical energy where this toy was not running. In business, we also have transduction. But the transduction here, you're not moving from mechanical to electrical, electrical to chemical, or chemical otherwise. You're now moving from an idea stage energy to revenue stage. You have that idea in your head. You have that idea you want to go and solve problems in the market. That is an energy state. The question here is that how do you move from that idea stage to the revenue stage? What is revenue stage? Revenue stage now is talking about that state where customers' problems are being solved. Customers' frictions are being fixed. And as those frictions are being fixed, you now have the capacity of those customers compensating you. And as they compensate you, what happens? You now can actually, good enough, earn revenue. Because we say that revenue is a compensation that you are getting as a business for helping customers to overcome the frictions that they have. So on these constructs, we can now go back for what we have today. And last week we established that every business has a purpose. And that purpose is the friction you want to go to the market to solve. Whether you're in banking, whether you're cooking food, whether you are doing anything, you need to have a mission. And then for you to have the capacity to do that and execution of that mission efficiently, you have to have capabilities. Capabilities are now things that you have acquired or accumulated as a company that can now help you to go through a production process so that at the end of the day, you release a product or a service that will now help the customer to overcome that problem. You make good food because you're a restaurant. You have capabilities of making good food. And that food is that product. And when people eat it, they now overcome that friction or hunger that they have. Your ability, your capacity to make good food will make you a great business. You're running banking services, great customer service, great efficiency on the way you price your product. Your capacity to actually know how you mitigate risk. Those are capabilities you have as a bank. If you do that continuously, you have many customers. You have many clients, and then you can make money. And that means you can move from the idea stage into the revenue stage, thereby driving that transductional energy that is evident in any very market system. It means that idea is now working for customers because their frictions are overcome. So how